It's January 20th, 2024. And I know by the time you see this, it won't be. However, that makes today the VHF Contest day. And while I'm not much of a contester, I do enjoy playing parks on the air. Problem is, VHF, 6 meters, right? Also 2 meters, but who's counting? I don't have a 6-meter resonant antenna, and yes, I have a tuner, and I have a radio with a tuner, but I prefer to play with resonant antennas whenever possible. So let's build 2 of them. Let's build a simple wire dipole, and because it intrigues me, let's build a tape measure dipole. I built a 2-meter tape measure Yagi a couple years back, and this is what I have left of the tape measure that I bought to build that Yagi with. And it happens to be a 25-foot long tape measure, and I have 15 feet left of it. Good use for a 6-meter dipole, right? 6-meter dipole is gonna be somewhere near 9 feet long, depending where on the band you want it. For my purposes, 6 meters being from 50 megahertz all the way to 54 megahertz, I want to put it smack in the middle, 52 megahertz, which makes it 9 foot long according to simple calculations, right? I'm going to set this up as 2 elements, and I'm going to set this up as 2 elements, and I'm going to build a dipole center for it that will fit on top of a mast. With that said, I'm doing this with the things that I have on hand. No, I'm not going to the store just to buy things, so bear with me because I may not be using the best stuff to use just because I'm using whatever I have on hand. It's 9 degrees outside and I don't feel like just making extra trips for the sake of making extra trips. So come along, let's build a dipole and maybe get into the park and play parks on the air with it. Here's the idea. I'm going to cut a plug with a hole saw. Now that I have the plug cut out, all I'm going to do is screw it onto a piece of scrap 2x4. And you're trying to figure out what in the world am I doing? Simple. I have a spider beam mast. I'm going to find the portion that has the inner diameter that closest matches this, and I'm just going to stick it into the mast. Wherever there's some slop, I'll just use some electrical tape to get it closer to the fit of whatever section on the mast it fits on. Just using a wire tie on the edge of this piece of wood, piece of 2x4, to put the SO239 on. Are there better ways? I'm sure there are. Especially since I just screwed that up. As I'm wont to do, I put the cart in front of the horse. I knew that I was going to affix this to this block, but I thought I could figure it out. And, you know, I don't really have a good way right now. I'm thinking I'm going to do this. A couple of staples on here. And hopefully that is robust enough to support the antenna connection. Let's see, which way do I want the ground? That's what I get for thinking. Nope, that's not gonna work. Let me figure out what else I can do to do this. Probably not the best solution I could think of, but we're gonna try some Velcro. I mean, I could make a bracket and whatnot, but that would require me going to the hardware store. And I'm trying not to go to the stores. Here's the basic idea. I'm gonna set this up here with some screws. And once the SO239 is connected, then I will wrap everything together and hopefully there's enough grip there to keep all of this without getting cable strained. In the meantime, I'm going to measure 4.5 feet twice on wire and get it cut and ready for it to be the dipole. One thing I forgot to mention already is that I have these fiberglass rods that I got at the Restore, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole on each side of the 2x4 to support sticking the fiberglass rod in, and then I'm going to use the fiberglass rod to support the elements of the dipole. The cables coming off this SO239 are 4 inches, and the dipole works out to 4.5 feet total per leg, which means I need to cut 4 foot 2 inches of wire. I've actually cut 4.5 because I want to give myself some room to work. I know that I'm going to have to trim it, velocity factor and everything else. However, easier to trim it up than it is to try to add it, especially in the field, because I'm not going to test this here. I'm just going to take it straight to the field and try to make it work. Well, the closest size I can find in my drill index is 1/4 inch, and what I really need is 256 thou. So I'm hoping that this is just out of tolerance enough that I can fit one of those rods in there. Ooh, look at that. Oh yeah, that'll do just fine. It'll do just fine, pig. That is, couldn't have asked for better. Better lucky than skilled. These apparently were flags of some kind. They took the flag fabric off, and there's just enough residue there to shoot it over 250 thou, but I think I have enough of it removed that I can obviously fit it in here. And surprise, surprise, I didn't think this all the way through. I was just about to start getting elements ready for the tape measure, and I realized that my entire plan right now depends on me screwing these leads through and not using bolts, because I don't have bolts that are long enough to do all this. So the idea would be that goes through there, that goes through there, and that goes all into the wood, making, you know, the connection happen. And if I do that and I go to the field, that doesn't leave me any place to put the 6 element, that doesn't leave me any room to put the tape measure elements on when I want to try them. Which means back to the drawing board for how to get all of this done. I'm gonna go through my toolbox and see if I can find some fasteners that'll work the way I need them to work. Put that aside and use it for some other project. Seriously, LDG, how in the world are we supposed to use those mounting holes? And now what I'll do is I'll bring myself a couple of zip ties to the field. Since this is gonna sit on top of the mast, I'll make a loop of coax coming out, and then I'll zip tie it to the mast for some strain relief. Next up, let's cut turn these rings into forks. There we go. Those are a little snug, but that'll work. And the other side, there you go. That gives me what I need for the wired 6-meter elements. Next, I'm gonna cut some elements out of the tape measure. Back at kilo 41.92. This time, instead of doing the hike, I'm just going to set up the 6-meter dipole and see how it does. I'll have to put it up and down a couple of times to get it tuned up, but it's VHF day, so let's get some VHF contacts. Oh, for crying out loud. A little bit of gaffer's tape. Dipole sort of assembled. Now I just need to put the coax on it and get the mast out. So here we go. Coax connected. The dipole is set up. It actually fits somewhat close to there. I don't know if it'll fit on the next section or not, but I'm not going to try right now. Let's get this puppy put up. It's the little things in life, right? Caps that come with ABR make days like today pretty easy. All right, let's go to, where's 50? There. Let's go to 52. We have high SWR all the way up. Let's see, it's long, so maybe let's go down to 50. Okay, so we're climbing out of 50. This is fine. I need to obviously start trimming. I'm going to trim a couple inches and come back and do this all over again. I made the first cut, the first trim. Let's see what we have now. Get out! Better lucky than skilled. I legitimately just kind of eyeballed, I think, maybe 2 inches. I'm editing the video and I was going to show you this whole activation, but I don't want to bore you to death. So I'm just going to put the activation information right here. Look at this massive pileup I got on 6 meters. We'll catch you guys in the next one. 7-3.